Let's talk to a man who does have a clue, however. He is Dr. Raqib Hasan. He is, of course, from the Henry Jackson Society, good friend of the show. Very, very good morning to you, Raqib. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Great piece that you've written that I'm looking at. I was looking at it over the weekend. A new report published by Hope Not Hate, which of course provides an awful lot of food for thought for you, not least around this whole idea of black and minority ethnic phraseology, like the BAME word, which we keep hearing now over and over again. You've got a view that basically the term may have outlived its purpose.
Well, I would definitely say so, Mike. When you consider the racial, ethnic, social, economic, and cultural complexities of urban Britain,
Yeah.
I'll say that the BAME acronym has very much outlived its purpose. I think an interesting part of that report published by Hope Not Hate actually tells you about the social tensions which exist between ethnic and religious minorities. So if we're talking about inner city Birmingham, social tensions in West London. The reality of the matter is, Mike, some of the main social tensions in those kinds of areas, they don't involve white British people, Mike.
Mm.
That's the truth. And I think unfortunately we have too many people in the country. They look at Britain through a white versus BAME prism.
Mm.
And the reality of the matter is when you look at these kind of social tensions, many of the time it's minority versus minority.
Right.
And I think that if we're going to adopt a mature approach to improving community relations in various parts of the country, we have to be honest about where the main tensions lie.
Yes, well, you've often said to me, Raqib, that it's nonsensical and idiotic to assume that just because you are part of the black and minority ethnic community, that you are all as one voice, right? As you've said, somebody from a Sri Lankan background or somebody from a Nigerian background, somebody like yourself from a Bengali background, you're not all going to agree on politics. You're not all going to agree on matters of culture. You're not all going to agree on anything.
Well, Mike, I have some interesting stats here. So if we take the most recent crime survey in England and
Mm.
Wales, now ethnic minority respondents were asked, do you have confidence in your local police force? 76% of people of Black African origin said they had confidence. That dropped right down to 56% for people of Black Caribbean origin.
Right.
So even if you're looking at the broader Black population, and you look at previous surveys which show that Black Africans, when compared with Black Caribbeans, they're more likely to have confidence, more likely to be satisfied with the British democratic system.
Mm.
In certain cases, they're also less likely to report racial discrimination. These are very important differences that need to be recognized within the broader British Black population. But all too often we have politicians, we have people in the media, and we have academics who should really know better. They try to frame Black people as some sort of monolithic community
Mm.
living in Britain, when
Yeah.
it's really not the case at all.
No, interesting, isn't it? Because also those very same politicians and sort of polemicists will use the numbers of people who are part of what they call the black and minority ethnic population, so that the percentage of people who think something seems bigger, when in fact, one, they don't all think it, and two, they can't be lumped together.
Well, absolutely. And I think all too often those differences, they're masked over because ultimately we have people in politics, in the media, and in academia who have almost constructed this imaginary BAME community, Mike. When the reality matter is, when we're looking at the broader ethnic minority population, there's very real differences, the great deal of ideological diversity, there's very serious group differences when it comes to attitudes towards the police, and also how British society is perceived.
Mm.
So these kind of individuals, I almost feel that it's politically motivated, where they're trying to create a narrative of white versus BAME, when the reality on the ground is very different.
No, exactly right. And as far as the whole kind of Black Lives Matter movement is concerned, it feels to
Sure.
me as though that has kind of slightly come and gone, in the sense that, there was a time when everybody was obsessed with it. There were people marching in the streets. There were police having bottles thrown at them. There were people talking about defunding the police. People started to realise that the organisation as such is perhaps not as pure as perhaps they were making themselves out to be. We've seen what's going on in America, some really terrible things on the streets of that great country. What's your view of the whole Black Lives Matter kind of phenomenon, if you like?
Well, it's interesting. We had this story that broke out that the BBC is considering the removal of Rule
Yeah,
Britannia and Hope Glory from the last night proms. Now, they said that, this is in light of the, what's taking place with the Black Lives Matter movement.
yeah,
I almost feel that we have culturally liberal forces within public institutions, including the BBC, who are almost using the Black Lives Matter wave
mm,
in order to press ahead with what I would consider to be an anti-tradition agenda.
yeah,
Now, these kind of gestures, removing those songs from this particular program, not a single black life in Britain is going to be improved by it, Mike. Why don't the BBC, for example, discuss a potential new series that champions and celebrates black entrepreneurialism in the inner cities, cases of academic excellence, or highlight community projects which promote social responsibility, family responsibility? I think that'd be far more productive and beneficial. So you have people now who are using recent cultural developments to press ahead with, in my view, almost an attack on aspects of British heritage. And also, the reality of the matter is, I haven't heard many anti-racism protesters or anti-racism activists who have even talked about this particular program and these particular songs.
no.
So I think that is deeply unhelpful. And really, the reality of the matter is, if you're genuinely interested in creating a more socially cohesive Britain, these kind of actions, they're not going to have any impact at all.
No, it's totally a case of putting the cart before the horse. Dr. Raqib, we'll have to get you on again because there's more to talk about. We're out of time, unfortunately. Dr. Raqib Hasan from the Centre on Radicalisation and Terrorism at the Henry Jackson Society.